Oyagala okumanya ebiriwo, ebyaliwo, oba ebigenda okubaawo. Program Tambula n'okumanya eggose. Tambula n'okumanya ku MRU TV ne Royal FM. Tambula n'okumanya. Tambula n'okumanya.
Today, we have brought you the history of the late Princess Diana of Wales. Princess Diana was born on 1st July 1961 at Park House into the British nobility and grew up close to the royal family on their Sandringham estate in UK. Diana was a youngest daughter of John Spencer, 8th Earl Spencer, and Frances Roach. The Spencer family had been closely allied with the British royal family for several generations. Diana's grandmothers, Cynthia Spencer, Countess Spencer, and Ruth Roach, Baroness Fermoy, had served as ladies-in-waiting to Queen Elizabeth. The Spencers were hoping for a boy to carry on the family line, and no name was chosen for a week until they settled on Diana Frances. On 30th August 1961, Diana was baptized at St. Mary Magdalene Church, Sandringham. She grew up with 3 siblings, Sarah, Jane, and Charles. Diana lived with her mother in London during her parents' separation in 1967. Diana was 7 years old when her parents divorced, and her mother later began a relationship with Peter Kyde and married him in 1969. But during that year's Christmas holidays, Lord Althorp refused to let Diana return to London with Lady Althorp. In 1976, Lord Althorp married Rain, Countess of Dartmouth. Diana's relationship with her stepmother was particularly bad. She resented Rain, whom she called a bully, and on one occasion, Diana pushed her down the stairs. She later described her childhood as very unhappy and very unstable. Diana became known as Lady Diana after her father later inherited the title of Earl Spencer in 1975, at which point her father moved the entire family from Park House to Althorp. Diana was initially homeschooled under the supervision of her governess Gertrude Allen. She began her formal education at Sealfield Private School in Guyton and moved to Riddlesworth Hall School, an all-girls boarding school, when she was 9. She did not shine academically, failing her O-levels twice. She showed a talent for music as an accomplished pianist. She also excelled in swimming and driving and studied ballet. Diana worked as a dance instructor for youth until a skiing accident caused her to miss 3 months of work. She then found employment as a playgroup preschool assistant, did some cleaning work for her sister Sarah and several of her friends, and acted as a hostess at parties. Diana spent time working as a nanny for the Robertsons, an American family living in London, and worked as a nursery teacher's assistant at the Young England School in Pimlico. Lady Diana first met Charles, Prince of Wales, the Queen's eldest son and heir apparent, when she was 16 in November 1977. In July 1979, her mother bought her a flat at Coleherne Court in Earl's Court as an 18th birthday present. Prince Charles subsequently courted Diana in London. The prince proposed on 6th February 1981 at Windsor Castle, and Lady Diana accepted, but their engagement was kept secret for 2.5 weeks. Their engagement became official on 24th February 1981. Diana was the first English woman to marry the first in line to the throne, and she was also the first royal bride to have a paying job before her engagement. Following her engagement to Prince Charles, Diana made her first official public appearance in March 1981 in a charity event at Goldsmiths Hall. 20-year-old Diana became Princess of Wales when she married Charles on 29th July 1981. The wedding was held at St. Paul's Cathedral, a church that was generally used for royal nuptials. After she became Princess of Wales, automatically acquired rank as the 3rd highest female in the British Order of Presidents. On 5th November 1981, Diana's pregnancy was announced in February 1982. Pictures of the pregnant Diana was published in the media. On 21st June 1982, Diana gave birth to the couple's first son, Prince William, and Prince Harry in 1984, 15th September. Diana gave her sons wider experiences than was usual for royal children. She chose their first given names, selected their schools and clothing, planned their outings, and took them to school herself. In 1985, Charles and Diana visited Italy and were later joined by Prince William and Harry. In November 1985, the couple visited the United States, meeting President Ronald Reagan and First Lady Nancy Reagan at the White House. In November 1986, she went on a 6-day tour to the Arab Gulf states, including Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia. 5 years into the marriage, the couple's incompatibility and age difference of 12 years became visible and damaging. By 1987, cracks in their marriage had become visible, and the couple's unhappiness and cold attitude towards one another were being reported by the press. Charles resumed his relationship with his former girlfriend Camilla, and Diana later began one with Major James Hewitt. In 1989, Diana was at a birthday party for Camilla's sister when she confronted Camilla about her and Charles's extramarital affair. These affairs were later exposed in 1992. The princess discussed her own and her husband's extramarital affairs. In February 1996, Diana announced her agreement after negotiations with Charles and representatives of the Queen. Charles formally agreed to the divorce in a written statement. In July 1996, the couple agreed on the terms of their divorce. Diana continued to be regarded as a member of the royal family and was accorded the same precedence she enjoyed during her marriage. The Queen reportedly wanted to let Diana continue to use the style of Royal Highness after her divorce, but Charles had insisted on removing it. The day after her divorce, she announced her resignation from over 100 charities and retained patronages on only 6. In 1997 March, Diana visited South Africa, where she met with President Nelson Mandela. In June 1997, she gave a speech at a landmines conference held at the Royal Geographical Society and traveled to Washington, D.C. to help promote the American Red Cross landmines campaign. On 30th August 1997, Diana arrived in Paris with Egyptian film producer Dodi Fayed, the son of businessman Mohammed Al Fayed. Mohammed was and remains the owner of the Hotel Ritz, Paris, and resided in an apartment on Rue Hassan-Hossein, a short distance from the hotel. Henry Paul, the deputy head of security of the Ritz, had been instructed to drive the hired black 1994 Mercedes-Benz W140. Diana and Fayed then departed from the hotel's rear entrance at around 12:20 on 31st August, heading for the apartment in Rue Hassan-Hossein. At 12:23, Paul lost control of the vehicle at the entrance to the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. The car was traveling at an estimated speed of 105 kilometers per hour, over twice the tunnel's 50 kilometers per hour speed limit. It then spun and hit the stone wall of the tunnel backwards, finally coming to a stop. The impact caused substantial damage, particularly to the front half of the vehicle. Witnesses arriving shortly after the accident reported smoke. Also reported that photographers on motorcycles swarmed the Mercedes sedan before it entered the tunnel. Some rushed to help, tried to open the doors and help the victims, while some of them took pictures. Diana, who had been sitting in the passenger's seat, was conscious and critically injured. Diana was moved to the SAMU ambulance police at 1:18, left the scene at 1:41, and arrived at the hospital at 2. Fayed and Paul were pronounced dead and were both taken directly to the Institut Medico Legal, the Paris mortuary, not to a hospital. Diana later died at the hospital at approximately 4. Bruno Roy announced her death at 6 at a news conference held at the hospital. Diana's former husband, Charles, Prince of Wales, and her 2 older sisters, Lady Sarah and Lady Jane, arrived in Paris. Prince Charles accompanied Diana's body to the UK. Later the same day, they landed in Rough, Northolt, and her body was finally taken to the Hammersmith and Fulham mortuary in London for a post-mortem examination. Diana was 36 years old when she died. Early on, it was uncertain if Diana would receive a state funeral since she had lost the status of Her Royal Highness following her divorce from Prince Charles in 1996. Diana's death was met with extraordinary public expressions of grief, and her funeral at Westminster on 6 September drew an estimated 3 million mourners and onlookers in London. After the end of the ceremony, Diana's coffin was driven to Althorp. Mourners cast flowers at the funeral procession for almost the entire length of its journey, and vehicles even stopped on the opposite carriageway of the motorway as the cars passed. In a private ceremony, Diana was buried on an island in the middle of a lake called the Oval, which is part of the pleasure garden at Althorp.